Good morning, dear students.
Good morning, sir.
Hope you are all doing great.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like how many methods have we done so far?
2.
Two. Okay. What are they?
Grammar translation method
Okay.
and direct method.
And the direct method. Okay. We have discussed the grammar translation method and the direct method. Okay. Well, if I ask you what are the three widely recognized methods of teaching a language, then what will be your answer?
Grammar translation method,
Okay.
direct method,
Okay.
bilingual method.
Very nice, very nice. So we have discussed the first two methods, that is the grammar translation method and the direct method. Now we shall discuss the bilingual method. Okay, the bilingual method. We'll have a quick revision also. I would see whether you remember the details or not. Like the grammar translation method, as you saw, is derived from the classical approach to teaching Latin and Greek. Is it not? Latin and Greek. These were the languages which were taught through translation. I mean, the people from England or France, they learned Latin and Greek through translation. And this is how I told you, Indians learn Sanskrit and Urdu and Persian and other languages through translation. If you wish to learn a new language, how do you learn it? You learn it through translation, you may say. So this is considered to be the oldest method. You know that. This method places a strong emphasis on what? Grammatical structures. Very good. Grammatical structure of language, and encourages rote memorization for learning. In grammar translation method, lessons are taught in the students which language?
Mother tongue.
Mother tongue. Okay, very good, very nice. Mother tongue is also called as
Native language.
native language, or say L1 language, that is the first language. Okay, L1 is the first language. So in grammar translation method, lessons are taught in the students mother tongue, that is L1, and involve extensive translation to and from the students target language. Okay, to and from which language? The target language. Which is the target language? Which language do we call the target language? The language that we are learning. Okay, or you may say the foreign language. And which language are we talking about? We are talking about the English language, right? So our target language is the English language. Keep telling me, okay, so that I know that you remember the details or not. So what is our mother tongue? Our mother tongue is Hindi, and the target language is the English language. Okay, this is what we saw in the translation method. What do? We translate each and every word from the target language to mother tongue, right? Or from mother tongue to the target language. And how about the direct method? The direct method has been strongly favored among language teachers for many years now. What does it do? It tries to imitate the conditions through which we acquire our native language, and therefore heavily discourages the use of the mother tongue. What do? Like, the aim is to teach the target language in the same way as we have acquired our mother tongue, right? So what do the teachers do? They try to follow the natural method of learning a language. This is what they do. So say there is an exclusive use of L2 in this method. That means the English language is used throughout. Medium of instruction is English. When we are talking about L2, remember we are talking about English. Okay, no other language. So there is an exclusive use of L2 in this method, and the students are encouraged to use an inductive approach to explore the rules of grammar of the target language. What is inductive approach? What do we mean when we say that grammar is taught inductively? Yes? Okay. We say that grammar is taught inductively in the direct method. By this we mean that we teach the use and not the rules. Rules come much later, when students have already acquired the target language, when they have already learned, okay, when they have, say, acquired a practical command over the language, then rules are taught. Why? Because that gives them an unerring sense of language. Whether they are speaking correctly or not, whether they are writing correctly, whether they are framing sentences correctly or not. So grammar is important, but it is in a way, like postpone the study of it. It's not taught right from the first day. First, spoken skills are taught, and then once the students have learned the language, the rules are taught. So this is how the grammar is taught, and this way is called as the inductive way of teaching grammar. Is that clear to you? Now do not forget it. What is inductive grammar? Come on, tell me. What is it? When you learn a language,
By use, not by rules.
by use. When usage is important. Okay, you learn the language by use and not by rules. Very good. However, in the translation method, what do? You learn it. You learn
By
the rules
rules.
first, and the use much later. Okay. Well, however, our focus here is on the third method. The third method is the bilingual method. The bilingual method makes use of the traditional 3 P's. Traditional 3 P's, I would say. I would write it. It makes use of 3 P's. 3 P's. Okay, 3 P's. And what are these 3 P's? Number 1, presentation. And number 2, practice. Number 1, presentation. Number 2, practice. And number 3, produce. It is called as produce. The first stage is that of presentation. The second stage is that of practicing, and the third stage is that of producing. Okay, these are the 3 stages. So what was I saying? I was saying that the bilingual method makes use of the traditional 3 P's. Presentation. Yes, come on.
Practice,
Practice.
produce.
Produce, or say production, you may say. Okay, you can use a noun. Presentation, practice, and production. The 3 P's are the 3 main stages of any language lesson. When you are learning a language, any language, in fact, any new language or any new thing, it can be a skill like dancing, singing, whatever. So you follow these 3 P's. Okay, first the teacher of the foreign language, what does he do? He presents the teaching material, and then learners practice together the written and the oral structures of the foreign language. How is it taught? Through bilingual method. Presentation. The first stage is that of presentation. What does the teacher do? The foreign language, the teacher of the foreign language, that is one who's teaching the English language, one who's teaching the target language, he presents the teaching material, and then learners practice. Okay, this is the second stage. Learners practice together, that is with the teacher, the written and oral structures of the foreign language. And finally, what do? They're supposed to produce something with their new knowledge, without the aid, without the help of the teacher. Okay. Now, I would like to, I don't know whether you have understood clearly or not. I would like to simplify it by giving you an analogy so that you don't remember. Well, I am sure you must have been to a swimming pool. Do you know swimming?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nice. If I go wrong, you may correct me, because I'm just imagining, the way a swimming coach coaches the students to swim. Okay. Now this is swimming. This is swimming pool. This is water. So what does the teacher do? First, he takes the students to the swimming pool. This is the first stage. This is the stage of presentation. He takes them to the swimming pool. He shows them the swimming pool, or now students are already familiar with the swimming pool. Why? They must have seen it in movies or say on television, and they must have seen in reality also earlier, although they may not have swum, but they must have seen the swimming pool. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So this is the first stage, showing the students the thing that you're teaching. And the same thing can be like, he may talk about the articles. Now students already know about A and the articles, but they haven't yet learned it. And the second stage is that of practice. What is the second stage? It is the stage of practice. And what does the teacher do here? He goes into the swimming pool along with the students, okay, the learners. He's teaching how to swim. So he's there in the swimming pool with them. He teaches them how to swim. Same is the case with the teacher. Teacher also, before asking them independently as to what they have learned, what does he do? He gives them practice in language process. Like he might give them practice in prepositions, or say in articles, or whatever he is teaching. The second stage is that of practice. Is it clear? Are you following this? I think this is making things clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first stage is that of presentation. The second stage is that of practice. And the last stage is that of production. Okay. What does he do here? Here, the students do things on their own. Now, by this time, by the time they reach the third stage, okay, the third stage, it can be produce or production. Okay, I think let me write production, so that it's easier for you. Okay, by the time they reach the stage of production, they already know how to sing. Okay, and same in teaching also. By the time they come to this stage, they already know like what are the articles and how are they used, right? So they have already learnt it. Now they can handle that thing independently, and they can even use their own imagination. Like suppose what does a teacher do? Teacher gives examples, but he gives examples, say, of 3-4 sentences. He's teaching articles. Okay, he may give examples of A comprising, say, 10 sentences. But that doesn't mean that the students would learn only 10 sentences. No, they can use their imagination and they can make innumerable sentences with the help of those examples, right? So here they become independent. They know how to swim. They know how to handle the English language. Okay, this is the third stage. Means by the time they reach the third stage, the students already gain practical command over the language. So these are the 3 P's. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I hope it is clear to you.
Yes, sir.
In which method do we use this pedagogy?
Bilingual method.
Bilingual method. Very good, bilingual method. Very nice. Well, if I ask you, what do you mean by bilingualism? Yes. Bilingualism. Bilingual. Can you guess bilingual?
2 languages.
2 languages. Okay. Bilingual. Bi is 2 and lingual is from language. So you said 2 languages. Bilingual is, in fact, is a person who knows 2 languages. Okay. Besides his mother tongue, he knows any other language. This could be a foreign language. Here we are talking about English language. Okay. If a person knows Hindi quite well, and he knows English as well, then you would say that the person is bilingual. Okay, so bilingual refers to the proficiency, okay, the command, the competence in the use of more than one language, more than one language. More than one language, when I say, that means besides your own language, the mother tongue. The word bilingual refers to a person who knows how many languages at least?
2.
2 languages. Very good. 2 languages. And one who knows many languages is called as?
Multilingual.
Okay, very good. Multilingual. Okay, or polyglot, you may say. Right? Okay. So when I'm talking about 2 languages, that means the mother tongue and any foreign or second language. In the bilingual method of teaching, the use of native language becomes a creative force. Okay, it becomes, I must say, the creative source of both teaching and learning the foreign language. For example, you saw while we were doing the direct method that the mother tongue is kept away. But this is not so in the bilingual method. Mother tongue plays a very important role in learning the English language in the bilingual method. What is it? It's a creative force. It helps, it assists in learning the second language, learning the foreign language. Language learning, I must say, is one of the most enriching experience we can have as human beings. Means we are thankful to the Almighty that He has given us a language, or say He has given us the ability to understand language and to communicate with the help of that language, right? So this is an important gift to the human beings from the Almighty. Well, so what is bilingualism? Shall I remove it now? Now let us talk about one or two definitions. Definitions here. Whenever you are writing a question on say on any of the teaching methods, then it is good to give at least one definition. At least one definition. Sometimes you might not remember the definition exactly, you not remember the definition verbatim. Yet it's advisable that you give the definition in your own words. You can say I'm giving the definition of Bloomfield. Leonard Bloomfield, very famous linguist. We'll be talking about him more while we shall discuss the surface structures and the deep structures. Okay, or say IC analysis, you may say. So I was talking about Bloomfield. According to him, he says a native-like control of two languages is known as bilingualism. What does he say? He says, if you have a native-like command over two languages, that means the mother tongue and a second language, the foreign language, then this is known as bilingualism. Do you know this now? Can you tell me in your own words, what did I say? What is bilingualism according to Bloomfield?
Control over two languages.
A control over two languages. And what are those two languages?
Hindi and English.
Hindi and English, the mother tongue and the foreign language. That is the second language, L1 and L2. If you have a practical command over L1 and L2, you are a bilingual. And having this command is called as bilingualism. Okay? So, you may say a bilingual is a person who attains the proficiency in the linguistic skills of a foreign language, okay, and can use it with the same ease as he uses his mother tongue, right? Yes, if a person has the same command over the foreign language as he has over his own mother tongue, and he can use a foreign language with the same command with the same ease, then we call him a bilingual, right? So the bilingual method of foreign language teaching was, remember this name, was developed by C.J. Dodson. Okay, C.J. Dodson. Remember this. Who was the person to introduce to us this method, the method of teaching bilingually? It was C.J. Dodson, and he talked about bilingualism in 1967. Okay, yeah, late 1960s, you may say, and he hailed from Wales. Okay, so and this came as a reaction, you may say, as a counterpart of the audiolingual method, the method which we are going to take up after this, audiolingual method. The important aspect of bilingual method is that mother tongue is used to explain the intricate meanings of words. Okay, intricate meaning of words, phrases, sentence structures, and grammatical rules of the target language or second language. What did we do in the direct method? We were not making use of the mother tongue at all. Mother tongue was a taboo. Okay, was a taboo. It was forbidden. So, do you remember one of the principles was that inhibition of mother tongue. Mother tongue was kept away from the classroom. But here, what do we do? What is done? The bilingual method is is that method which makes use of the mother tongue. But it's not that it's freely used, like you're using it the way you used it in the translation method, or you use it in the translation method. I'm using the past tense because we already discussed the translation method. In the translation method, say the mother tongue is used freely, but it's not so here in the bilingual method. It is used only to explain the intricate meanings of words, phrases, sentence structures, and grammatical rules of the target language, or say the second language. Here we are talking about the English language. This method comprises, you may say, the merits of translation method, direct method, and even the structural approach. So it's a fusion of these two methods, the direct method and the translation method, which you have already learned. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
So do we use the mother tongue freely in a bilingual class?
No.
No. When do we use mother tongue in a bilingual class?
In translation method.
No. When do we use English? When do you use the mother tongue in the bilingual class? This is my question. When do we use? It's not used freely, as you said, okay. But I'm asking you now, when do we use it? Yes. Come on. Well, we use it to explain the meaning of intricate words and phrases. I hope it's clear to you. Well, I can give you one example. For example, if I say, knowledge of grammar is desideratum for knowing a language correctly. Okay? Knowledge of grammar, I said, is desideratum to understand a language, to know a language correctly, or to acquire the unerring sense of language. Now you know all the words here. Okay, you know all the words here. So there's only one word which is new to you: desideratum. What does it mean? Desideratum. It means, in fact, now suppose had I been teaching through direct method, then I would have said that it means prerequisite, it means essential, it means important. But suppose a teacher doesn't know and he is teaching the foreign language bilingually through bilingual method, then what would he say? Desideratum means ati mahatpurn. Okay. Now this would be very easy for students to understand. But as for me, ati mahatpurn is in fact more difficult than telling my students that desideratum means essential, that desideratum means important. When you say something is desideratum, that means something is essential. Okay? Means this thing is a prerequisite. Like, if you wish to gain good marks, then what is desideratum? It is essential, it is prerequisite that you work hard. Without working hard, you cannot secure good marks. So do you understand? So what do? We explain only the difficult words, the intricate words, not the entire sentence. It's not required, because the students know the sentence, they can understand the foreign language itself. So what is important? Just explain the intricate words, the complex words, which you think that your students might not know. So this is the difference while you teach, while you use the mother tongue in a translation class, that is in a grammar translation class, and or in a bilingual class. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
What I'm trying to say that mother tongue is used, but mother tongue is not used freely. It's not that all the time teacher is speaking in mother tongue.